welcome everybody. This I apologise in advance. This is the most unprepared I have ever been. We have been at the studio today. Myself, Dave. Let me move this along. This is how bad I am. Myself, Dave, and Mike, and Phil have all been at the studio today working on stuff. We filmed a battle report. It was Skaven versus Ogres, and it took a while to record. A long time. So no doubt there's going to be like hours and hours of editing. So it was a spur of the moment thing. It was pretty rushed. And then while I was doing that, Phil basically redid my entire study. So there's like paint racks and things up, but it meant that my desk was piled, and I'm not joking when I'm saying it was piled high. So in terms of doing hobby, my cables aren't even set up to show you what I'm working on, and I'm just not going to work on stuff. So I'm all yours today. So if you're in the chat, I'm going to go through who's here in a moment. Don't know what that is. That sounds like the dog outside. I'm going to go through who's in the chat, but give us questions, join in the conversation, and I'm going to basically focus on the chat. We've got some stuff from the Warhammer community, which I'm going to go over, and I haven't even looked at it. But this is how rushed I am. So we're going to look at the Ork faction focus, the Primaris Space Marine data sheet which has come through, and I'm sure there was something else that I've not seen. What was the other one? Missions, Warhammer 40k missions. So I've got them opened up in tabs. Let me see if I can show this actually.
So did you say you've not seen any of these yet? Right, I think I'm going to be on the same page. I think I briefly saw the Marine one earlier, but it was only a quick go through. I haven't had a proper read of it yet, so at least we're going through it all at the same time.
That's fine then. And if anybody hasn't seen this on the chat already, you will. Anybody who has seen this already, you'll know more than us. So you'll have already thought about a lot of the things that we may talk about. So give us your feedback. So who have we got? Let's start off with who's in the chat. Let's start with who's in the Hangout actually. Have either of you got your webcams on? Yes, Dave is actually downstairs at the moment.
Just me.
And Mike is on the chat obviously as well.
Yeah, I just don't have I haven't got the camera on this time. I had some stuff to sort out, so I wasn't going to get it all done in time.
It's really dark in the wardrobe, so he's just not bothering.
Yeah, there's no point. You wouldn't better see me anyway.
No. So that's that. That's who's in the Hangout. We have, let's see who's in the chat. Henry Armstrong, Neil Malden, Ashley Perkins, Gary Waddingham, Stephen Leggett, the Fomorian, Sean Dewitt, Basic Miniature Painting, Dark Elf Dave, Muldis, Johnny Rockstar, Void72, Ryan Benfield, Jim Wilson. I'm not going to forget Jim Wilson. Yesterday I did, and it wasn't worth it. Emmett Walker, Elster Nation, welcome. Coyote, James Jones. James Jones, was that the same name as... What was the green thing from DC? The Martian Manhunter.
John Jones.
Oh, that was it. Not James Jones.
You were close.
Stu Rat, Kablams, Bjorn Eilert, Underdog Painting, Listener. Okay, so have we got any questions in the chat already? Let's have a quick look. Neil Malden, at last a proper subject. I imagine that's because the title was simply Orks. That's as basic as I can go as far as titles this evening. I might update it afterwards, but we will be talking about Orks. Henry, who's going to Warhammer Fest? We are. And there's a lot more in the chat as well on the Facebook page, Wargamer Online. On the Facebook group, there's a lot of people who are going from there as well. So we're going to meet up and say hello. Sean Dewitt, happy Friday. Well done, WGO, on a great Gav T interview. He certainly gave us our money's worth. Yes, that was quite a good one. It was really exciting to get Gav onto the chat and potentially have him on in the future as well. So that's pretty awesome. Emmett Walker, getting ready to do some painting. Oh, and listen to that. I thought that was a question. It was titled at Wargame Online, so I was reading it as if it was a question. Just going to listen to some of the best chat about wargaming. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll try our best, certainly. What do you guys think about the new leaked detachments? You're going to have to send me a message. If somebody can send me those leaked detachments onto the Facebook group, I'll have a look during the stream and we can have a look. Thinking of Earl Jones. Anyone else think GW teasing is incredibly annoying? Keep telling us water is wet. It is. It's annoying, but it's also building the suspense. I don't know when it's going to get to the point where it is too much. I think we've got the release date now, so we know it's not going to drag on for too much longer. We've got the release date. We know what's going to be in the starter set. We've seen how the game plays. They're just chucking out extra bits really before it's actually launched.
So are they talking about just 8th on its own, or just the teasers in general for everything from GW?
I'd imagine it's 8th because teasing in general has been going for a long time. And you know what? Teasing has got a lot less, if in a way. You know, like we'd have to look at leaks 1 month in advance or 2 months in advance, and you'd get some grainy picture from Spain or something, or America. And it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like...
But there was long periods where they wouldn't show anything, and it would just be them leaks where we might get to see glimpses of stuff. But with that community page up and running now, and they're showing stuff quite regularly now, it's not a case of everything's being hidden. Even if the pictures aren't really clear as to, this is what this is, it gets us all excited, and then start thinking, well, what could it be? Is it this? Is it that? So it's something.
Exactly, and at least they're giving us information. The worst thing would have been 8th editions coming out at some time soon and not giving us information. I think that would have probably been worse. Yeah. Right, so listeners sent us the leaked Detachment article. Let's have a look.
See, because so far there's been 4 officially that they've shown, isn't it? Because we had the 3 in the one post, and then when they did the Imperial Night, there was another one in that as well.
Yeah, I'm reading.
Sorry. Right. Feel free to step in, Dave.
I haven't got anything to say yet.
Oh wow! Okay,
I need to wait for it to be
quality,
worthwhile.
Dave. I mean, the reason we have you on these chats is just because
just for the pure quality,
just to see your face. I mean, that's the only reason we have you here, isn't it? Really, because the chat is just non-existent. I've got nothing to say. Cheers,
don't leave me trying to have a conversation myself, because it won't go well.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what the leak is. Oh, okay. So two detachments, 2 examples of detachments to give you a better idea of what it all means. So from time to time, a detachment will specify 2 or more battlefield roles, in which case you can use any unit that has at least one of the specified roles to fill that slot. Super heavy auxiliary detachment. 1 Lord of War. Restrictions, none. Command benefits, none. So you can just take a Lord of War.
Okay.
As an army.
As an army. Auxiliary support detachment. Pretty much any of the choices. This detachment can only include a single unit. Benefits is 1 command point. Unlike other detachments, you lose 1 command point. Oh, it's -1 command point. Right, okay. I didn't read that. I saw a hyphen and was like, it's telling us that you get a command point. So if you take just a single choice by itself...
Of anything.
It looks like it. HQ troops, elites, fast attack, heavy. What's the sword and the wings? That's not Lord of War, is it? Lord of War was fist. I don't know. A dedicated transport as well, I think. So if you take any of those, you lose 1 command point for each auxiliary support detachment in your army. These are deducted from your total after adding up the bonuses from all other sources. So you could just go all unbound in a way. You could just take whichever choices you want. You'll be on negative command points, but if you're not bothered about having any command points, it's not going to be a problem, is it?
No.
Yeah, like Ryan said.
Not unless there's a penalty to being minus.
Yeah,
with them.
But like Ryan just said, if you don't have any command points to start with, you know, what's the issue? You're like, well, I'll just take.
You've got nothing to lose.
So you know how they were saying, if you haven't, any army you've created at the moment, they've pretty much covered it. And I was thinking, well, what about Unbound? This is it. They've covered it.
It's there.
You've got a penalty, but they've covered it. Each detachment may contain the following information. Right, I'm going to stick this up on the... Actually, listener, you've just requested to join the Facebook group, haven't you? Let me just accept you right this second. And Gaz Morgan as well wants to join. We'll accept both of them. So if you want to post that up on the Facebook groups for the link, and then anybody who's on there can see that. We've got a Supreme Command Detachment. So that is 3 to 5 HQ, 0 to 1 Elites, and 0 to 1 Lord of Wars. You can have your dedicated transports as standard. All units must be from the same faction, and you get +1 command point for taking that.
Okay.
So if you want to take a bunch of characters, you're still going to get a command point.
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, it does seem like it's going to get like for building a list, it's going to cover most options. So it doesn't look like anyone's going to be missing out at this minute in time.
Yeah. Ah, there we go. Stephen Leggett. Didn't something say you start with 3 command points, then there were detachment, character bonus, command points on top? Potentially, yeah. I can't remember. I think I've been sunburnt on my neck. It's been really warm today, and I'm like a lobster. Super heavy detachment. So that one is 3 to 5 Lords of War.
Yeah, so that was the one that that was shown in the post that had the knight in, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one is 3 to 5 flyers, and they all give you +1 command point.
See, I don't know if I missed the bit, or if it's just been because we've had that much information about where you started with 3 command points anyway.
Maybe.
I didn't realise that was the thing.
Don't know. Right, let's
I didn't see
get
that.
back on with it. So what have we got in the chat? Rock lobster. Yeah. Don't know why I'm a rock lobster, but
Because you're red and burnt.
red and burnt, yeah. Oh, there's a flipping wasp. Oh, that's a hornet.
Oh dear, you love wasps and hornets.
Yeah, I'm going to go get rid of this wasp. Just bear with me a second. You're going to have to deal with the stream now, guys. Have fun. I'm going to turn off the webcam while
take it away, Dave.
This.
Take it away. I need to load the stream if you want to deal with it.
Oh.
I'm not watching it.
Right, so your thoughts so far on what has been released? This is the easiest topic I could think of just on top of my head to put out there while we've lost Sam.
Oh, I think it's really exciting, all the drips and drabs that we've been getting, because when we actually get the rules in full, we're going to know the majority of what's out there anyway. So it won't be as much of an adjustment. Like settling us into it nicely.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be. It's not long away now, is it? When was the pre-order date? Was it the 3rd?
June 3rd, yeah. So we're talking.
And then was it like a couple of weeks before the actual release after that?
2 weeks. So we're 3 weeks away now from Warhammer Fest.
Wow,
so
yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks today, actually, isn't it?
I'm not good with numbers, so it could be.
Yeah.
I know it's not long away now.
But 21 days of leaks, that's quite a lot of more stuff for them to drip feed us, isn't it?
Well, did they say that there was going to be new information up until the actual release, or just up to they did the announcement for when pre-orders and stuff was going to be coming up?
Well, if it was only up until the announcement for pre-orders, they'd have stopped by now, and they're still going.
Yep, good point.
So
good point.
I'm back. What was happening while I was slaying all manner of foul beast?
We were just quickly going over like what our actual thoughts on 8th is, just as a quick topic on that. And we were just saying, it's definitely shaping it to be quite good. And we're both, I imagine everyone in the chat is quite excited about 8th hitting really soon now.
Yes. Right, Dave, on a side note, can you go and shut the back door, please, and make sure the dog is inside and not, getting swarmed. I think there was a wasp's nest out there, so I don't want her getting attacked.
All right. I'll go stop that.
Just mute yourself. Right, I hate wasps, proper phobia. I'm not too keen on them, but ever since Rachel was scared of spiders, wasps, flies, bees, everything under the sun, I've had to man up a little bit. Surreal, is Sam okay? I was okay. I got, jumped by a wasp, but it's dead now. Sam wins.
That would have been quite interesting for people on this, to watch you on the stream trying to deal with it.
I should have left the webcam on. You just see me like flailing around, like hitting this thing.
Help me!
Let's talk about 8th edition. Right, what are we talking about? Let's bring up the browser. Let's just go straight onto it. Karanis has joined as well. The stream has not been going long. It's very unprofessional. Oh, that's webcam off. See how unprofessional this is. Can you shut the back door? This is gold. It's not gold. This is just what happens when you don't actually.
See, normally you are so on point for having everything organised and done on time, and so it's a bit different situation this time around for a last minute on everything.
You know what? The option was to not have a hobby hangout. So I was thinking, do we just not do a hobby hangout? Because I'm like so rushed doing the battle report, getting back. I've still not even uploaded the stuff to the computer, and I need to then take it over to Phil's ready for tomorrow so that we can use it for recording at ChillCon. So, I've still got that to do afterwards. We've not eaten yet, and Rachel is out at the moment, so we don't know when Rachel's going to come back. She's been out She's going out, so she could just come through the door at any point. What is the army value of a wasp? I don't know. I mean, what would you... It depends what its stats were, really. Definitely would cause fear. I don't know how much. Maybe -2. Can you edit while you hang out? I could transfer files, but at the minute I'm struggling to read the chat and keep on topic, so I don't think transferring files is worth doing, Surreal, but I like the suggestion. Premiere Pro is simple to use. It probably is, but I don't have that. I've basically got to go with what I have. Right, let's look at Primaris Space Marines. So what have we got? Unless you've been hiding under a rock, on the far side of Luna, you've probably seen the awesome contents of the upcoming Dark Imperium box. Can you type in, Dave?
I was just putting up the chat so I could read what was going on.
Oh, okay. I can hear it.
If that's all right.
Yeah, I can hear you typing in your username.
I clicked like once.
Right, so Space Marine captains should be amongst the most feared warriors in the galaxy, but a lot of the time today they are looked down on compared to other characters that can bring more utility to an army. Yeah, I suppose generally you're going to pick a chapter master, aren't you, or a special character, or how often do you see people take a bog standard captain to a game?
It's always chaplains for me.
Oh yeah,
So
chaplains are filthy. And in Heresy particularly.
Yeah.
That was a lovely click clunk. Yeah, just mute yourself, Dave, while you're clicking and clunking. You're going to get Kid Lambs excited. Leave Dave alone. He shut the back door. This is true. Dave, just keep typing. It's fine. We'll all listen to it. What was I saying? Horus Heresy. So Horus Heresy, generally, I mean, you've got Centurions, which are like, what are they? 65, 50 points? 50 points, I think. They're so cheap. And then you can upgrade them. You can basically make them into a chaplain for another 30 points or 35. It's a no-brainer because you give all of your units zealot, as well as your chaplain being nasty anyway and having the equivalent of a power weapon. So you pay the points for that. But in 40k, I just don't see people taking captains. Let's open this up and see what we can do. 5-inch movement, 2 up weapon. Oh wow, 2+ weapon skill, 2+ ballistic skill. That's nasty.
That's not bad.
Strength 4, bog standards. Toughness 5 though. That's nasty. 6 wounds, 5 attacks, 9 leadership, and 3 up save. So a captain in Gravis armor, which is the new Terminator armor, I think, is equipped with a mastercrafted power sword and a Boltstorm gauntlet. So the gauntlet is a 12-inch range, pistol 3, strength 4, AP nothing, damage 1 shot. So nothing fantastic.
Yep.
You know, it probably kills some orcs at close range. The interesting part of that, obviously, is it's pistol, so you can shoot that in combat.
Yes.
So pistols, as weak as they are compared to, you know, an equivalent rifle weapon, they're actually going to be more useful. Boltstorm gauntlet, so the actual melee the part of it times 2, so it's effectively a power fist. Because it has the -3 AP, it does the D3 damage, and when you're attacking with the weapon, you subtract 1 from the hit roll. So that is a power fist with a built-in.
So you only swap into hitting on 3s, is it?
Hitting on 3s, but you know, I mean, when you combine this with the command points and things like that, you're probably going to be re-rolling failed hits or re-rolling 1s to hit or something like that.
Has it got a points cost on that data sheet or not?
Yeah, 7 power, which is 1 point more than I think a 5-man squad of Primaris. But obviously, they're like the narrative points. So we've still got the granular system to have a look at, which will be in the book. Well, that'll be in the rule book.
I really can't wait to see that.
So let's just keep reading, and then we'll decide what this sort of thing is for. Because it has a mastercrafted power weapon, which is strength user, -3 AP, damage 2. So effectively, you can choose to. They both have the same AP. One of them's got a standard 2 damage, but it's at the strength of 4. The other one is a randomized damage, so it could be anything between 1 and 3, but obviously that's at strength 8. So, I don't know, you know, it's nothing spectacular. And they show no fear. It has a 4-up invulnerable save, which is pretty standard for a captain. Iron Halo. Rights of battle, you can re-roll hits of 1 for friendly chapter units within 6 inches of this model. So I imagine that is for himself. It says for friendly units within 6 inches.
It's for any family units.
Yeah, so any units within 6 inches will get that.
So the same chapter.
Yeah, so if he's rolling to hit with that power fist, he's hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, which is what I said would probably be an ability. I didn't realise it was going to be on the same character. And then faction keywords, Imperium, Astartes, and then whichever chapter you pick, keywords for his armour, the type of infantry. I mean, battlefield role, I'm not really excited by this. Is nice, but I don't think I'd rather just take 5 Primaris.
Do you think so? I think there'll be situations where having somebody who can hit a little bit harder is going to be a lot better. And the buff he will give to anything within 6 inches as well. Do you think that helps?
So what was the buff that he gets again?
Reroll to hit rolls of a 1 for all friendly units as well.
That's nice.
Yes. It means him and the 5
having him
marching
up with them, then you keep him surrounded, they're getting the bonus from him. And then you got that extra punch like Dave said.
And it's units, not models. So you can very easily get one person within range, and a 20-man unit might get that reroll to hit of a 1, which is going to be pretty spectacular, really. So okay, not horrendous for 7 power. Interested to see what it's like on the higher level points. What people are saying in the chat. What have we got? Let's go up a bit. So this is Karanis. So the best army against Rachel would be a wasp-themed Tyrannid army. It definitely would be. So black with yellow.
I once painted, didn't I?
You did it, yeah.
Wasp-themed army. I got about 6 models in before I gave up. That was the army that I gave up that I chatted about before.
Yeah, and I did a wasp-themed Dark Eldar Cabalite warrior, but I can't remember if it's on premium yet. There's definitely, if you go onto the website, wargameronline.com, and if you've got a premium account, actually no, even if you haven't got a premium account, search the Dark Eldar section and let me know if the yellow Dark Eldar one is on there, because I can't remember if it's up yet or if it's still to be released. Every Friday there's a new one being released, so there's one up that should have gone up already, actually. Yeah, there'll have been a premium that went up tonight. And thank you to everyone who's doing that as well. Again, we've had more people this over the last couple of days. Quite a few more people subscribe to the premium side of that. So if you haven't done it already, there's a free account that you can make on there, and that will give you access to extra videos. So we have all of our stuff on YouTube. They're all completely free and ad free. Then we've got the website, and just for making an account, you get access to. There's a load of videos that say like an F in the top right hand corner, and that just stands for freemium. So if you have a free account, you can access those. If any of them have a P in the top right, that stands for premium. So you pay £2.99 a month and you get access to everything on the website, everything premium and below anyway, although that's all there is. Anyway, what else have we got? I'm hoping these profiles are just about what's in the box and not the full profiles for those units, or they seem horribly inflexible. Yes, but that is what they've said. Everything's got a certain strength, and you've got to play the units to their strength with the Primaris. I don't think that as an army they might be like jack of all trade, master of none. But if you mix it all up, you'll be able to deal with everything.
That's the way they seem to be going with it. Like with any profiles they're putting up of things, is everything seems to, you want to combine things and then use things to their actual strengths. So you'll see a lot more all-round lists.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's the Golden Necrons. Phil's in the chat. So it was the Golden Necron that's gone up on premium tonight, which I think is a super fast, easy technique. It's pretty much, the fastest. If you want a Necron army painted quickly, that tutorial. Because remember when I started Necrons?
Briefly, it was a fleeting moment.
Yeah, I did 5 colour schemes and then didn't really like painting Necrons. I think it was because there was too many, and I'm worried that the Primaris are going to be the same. I'm doing exactly the same, getting a huge army in one go, and I'll probably get put off them, but I've got to do it now. What else do we have? Surreal saying we're lucky. Some of the live stream chat windows are horrible. Yeah, I mean, depends who's in the chat. We're quite blessed with all of our viewers, so I do appreciate all of you joining us every most of our live shows. We've got new people joining and saying hello and joining in the chat, and we've got viewers who have been with us from the very beginning, that 3 or 4 months ago, and you've been with us pretty much every single week, so it's massively appreciated. And we love, this is why I didn't want to skip the Friday, because I love coming on the Wednesday and the Friday every week, do these live shows just to keep catch up with everybody. and chat away.
Speaking of people jumping on board and new people joining and the people who have from the start, have you realised that there's almost 3,000 subs now on YouTube?
We were on
very, very close.
I think there's like 4. Well, when I saw earlier, I think it was about 40 more to go.
37, yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we just keep... I've got no time to keep checking everything. So I just keep putting content up and focusing on making sure that content is there. That's awesome, though. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. And click the little bell next to the subscribe button as well so that you get reminders for this. Right, what else do we have? Surreal. Yeah. He can't wait for Tesseract, the Tesseract Vault. You know, the most expensive model GW makes. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what that comes out at. The Catan, or... how do you pronounce it? Is it Satan or Catan? I've always called it Catan.
Yeah, I call it a Catan.
Catan, let's go with that. We've probably got it wrong. Don't hate us for it. But that model in the middle is pretty cool. I've seen some pretty nice paint jobs on that. But the sheer scale of that Tesseract Vault is just massive. Absolutely beautiful model. Oh no, just skipped too far. Done it again. Oh, here we go, I'm back. Kablam, Centurions are dull squared. Excessive magnetization, welcome dude. Thank you for joining us. Who thinks I should use some green stuff to make the Transcendent Catan female? I think if that's what you want to do, Surreal, go for it. And post up progress pictures as well. Dark Elf Dave, for me the captain is loads better than the 5 Primaris. That's fair enough. I think what you'll have to do is play stuff and you'll have to see what it's actually good for, what it's bad for, and then play it to its strengths. Everything's going to have a use and you've just got to make sure you find what that is. Someone did the math hammer on this captain and it takes 81 bolter shots to take down. Wow.
Oh.
That's a lot of shots to spend on that. So maybe it's going to just be a tank that buffs the units that are nearby.
Yeah.
That captain is more like a light vehicle. That's true. Captain is a mini dreadnought, Surreal. So $450 for you. I don't think it's that high.
No, there's somebody further down actually worked it out for us, and it's like $388.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say it's not really too expensive. We were looking at the prices and what was a reasonable price, and bearing in mind I don't sleep, we were like, £2.99 a month isn't bad. That's less than the price of most coffees, ice creams, and subscriptions you can get around. I am having Grawbad. I'm really having trouble choosing an army. I like too many of them. I can understand your pain. I have been through all sorts of starting point ideas. I was just going to get the Tactical Marines and follow Duncan's guide. Yep, that's definitely a way to go. Pick the favourite colour. I did a video actually on the Facebook page, just playing around with Photoshop, and by no means am I decent with Photoshop, but I got one of the Primaris models and just did a hue shift, so it goes from blue all the way through the different colours. Not all of them, but just a varied amount of them. And I posted that online, and thousands of views have now been watching that, so hopefully it's helped a few people. It definitely helped me narrow down a few choices, but we know what I'm like. Then someone told me not to do that unless I'm sure I want to have Ultramarines as an army.
Yeah, that's quite a commitment.
Vaughan Killian, I love that name. Welcome, Vaughan. I caught you guys live. June needs to get here sooner. It certainly does, and it's not that far away.
Not long now.
No. I'm sorry, basically, we've got loads of stuff to get through, but I'd rather just go through all of your chat. So if you're watching this back, I apologise, but all of these people have turned up for a live chat, so I definitely want to read what everyone has to say. Oh, here we go. Neil Molden. Where's the Orks? Okay, Neil, we're going to go into the Orks for you next. Do not worry. Surreal, apologise for telling you to ask Gav the bad questions yesterday. Okay, fair enough. The apology is accepted, Surreal. Love how international this chat is. Be interesting to see where everyone's from, actually. After I've gone through these next few chats, next to comments. Put in the comments where you're from. If you want, you don't have to, but it'd be interesting to see where everyone's from. We've got Javia Medina from Venezuela. Cincinnati, Ohio. That's surreal, yeah. There's a lot more Americans I'm noticing. And you know what? I don't understand why we aren't getting around YouTube as well. Like, you search for any of our channel stuff and it doesn't come up with stuff. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe tagging or something, or maybe it's not shared around enough. But generally, the only people who see this channel is being shared through other Wargamers. So we appreciate everybody who shares this around the groups and gets other people. Oh wow, okay, there's a whole wall. Gets us shared around because it definitely brings new faces. All right, let's see. After this, we're going on to Orks. We've got Germany, Denmark, Minnesota, Yorkshire, Norway, Idaho, another Idaho. Orks suck. That's a nice location, Turrican. Bristol, Yorkshire, Norfolk, Midlands, Cheshire, Bournemouth, UK, Kent, yeah, Dublin, Somerset, Edinburgh. There's a lot from England then. Finland, Las Vegas, Conan Mills. I've not seen you before. Welcome to the chat. James Jones from Birmingham. And there's quite a lot around Birmingham, actually, including us. Gloucestershire, Arizona, Maine. I always think of Maine because of Stephen King. I don't know if, there's got to be more people who live in Maine than Stephen King, but all of his novels seem to be based around that or have reference to it. Zero Pathos, Warwick. That is where we are at, Zero. We're in Leamington Spa. Terror. I like that, Ryan. That's nice and specific. Sussex.
Narrowing it down.
Derbyshire. Nottingham. Not enough Norwegians in this chat. Right, Koranis, it's your mission to bring as many Norwegians to this chat as possible. Zurich, Mordor, commonly known as Studley. Nottinghamshire. See, me and Phil are from the East Midlands. I'm from Derby, and Phil is from Chesterfield. And Dave, you're from Birmingham, aren't you? But you live in Derbyshire at the moment as well.
I was born in Somerset.
Yeah, that doesn't count. How long were you living there for? A day?
Well, that's besides the point. 6 months.
6 months. Scorchingly hot Coventry. It is absolutely roasting today. We went into the studio, so we filmed this battle report, and it took 3 hours at least, I'm going to say. And the studio doesn't have any ventilation, and the doors were shut, and we were just trapped in a room for 3 hours. So you can imagine what it was like when we came out. I don't know.
It was even worse when we got back to the car.
Then we got into the car, and it was like a sauna.
It's like, Dave, put the windows down. Dave, turn the electrics on.
Couldn't touch the windows because it was too warm. Right, let's do this because Neil's gonna lose it otherwise. We'll come back to this.
Was that all the information?
No, it's not. But we're skipping the rest of
Okay.
this just for Neil. So appreciation here, Neil. Where is it? Right, Orks. So faction focus. So Orks have obviously been not as great as other factions for a long time now. We've all been waiting for an update. This is a faction focus telling us what has been the updates. So let's have a look what we've got. So the latest stuff. So units with lots of characters from different factions, all providing bonuses to each other, cause the most problems and can leave Orks to be overwhelmed in close combat where they're meant to shine. As an Ork player, I certainly know this pain all too well. In the new edition, there's changes, and all I can say is praise be to Gork, or maybe Mork, or maybe both. One of the biggest changes for Orks is the new AP system and how that works. It impacts both their offense and defense. So units like Meganobs who have a 2-up save and now 3 wounds. They had 2 before, didn't they? So they've chucked another one on there. You know what? I wouldn't have minded them going up to 4 on a Mega Knob for wounds. Let's see what else they get anyway. So they will find themselves being able to soak hits from things that used to kill them in one shot and keep on killing thanks to their save. I wonder what their toughness is now. Because if they've only got the 3 wounds, I would at least give them a 5.
Yeah, I reckon just Orks all round, their toughness is going to be quite high, I reckon.
It should be. They should still be useless at shooting things. but hitting
And also,
stuff.
the majority of the Orks, if not all of them, have multiple wounds as well. Because if you think about the Orks and Sigmar, is it across the board? All of them have a minimum 2?
Yeah. Hard boys have got 2. I think my brutes have got 3 each. The Gore Grunters are on like 5 or 6. So what about the basic grunt in the Orc army? So what do these have? So Orc boys. They're basically a 6-up save will actually be useful now. So against most light weapons, the 6-up save will be used rather than just being negated, which is fair enough. I don't think that's that dramatic. I'm looking at this thinking maybe they could do more.
Yeah.
The Orcs have been down for a while, and they were one as well as Tyranids that I was expecting to get a lot. Not normal Orcs; they have 1 wound. I thought my hard boys had 2. I probably cheated then.
Have you been playing your army wrong?
You know what? I've only used hard boys once because the brutes are better. They just look better, and they're bigger. So, yeah, bigger is better.
Bigger's always better.
Bigger is better. Yeah. When you took the mega boss on the table and he just like stomps through all sorts, it's brilliant. Oh, hard boys are not normal Orcs. Okay, that's why I only have the Iron Jaws. So hard boys are the weakest of my Orcs.
The lowest form is still stronger than the lowest form of an Orc. Or an Orc.
So the big choppers. So in the past, power claws were always taken, and that's just because they were, tank openers. Big chopper is now quite appealing thanks to a more scalable AP system, and the combi scorcher is positively mean. Yeah, flamers, pistols, they're all going to be good. Let's see what this. So the big chopper. I apologise, it's off screen. Can't do much about that. Big chopper +2 strength. So I don't know if we've seen the strength of an Orc. I can't remember. It's got to be at least a 4. So strength 6. AP -1, damage 2. It's pretty reliable at least. No abilities on that. And then the normal chopper, each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon, which is strength user, AP 0, damage 1. That's effectively a chainsword from Space Marines. Again, it's a chainsword on an Orc. So the best way to mitigate, so this was the morale. Obviously, Orcs running was one of the bigger issues, so let's see what they've done. The best way to mitigate it is by having a war boss within 3 inches of a unit of Orcs. You can simply knock a few of them senseless, D3, to keep the rest of the boys in line and in the fight. So that's good, straightforward and simple. I wonder if that's a choice thing. So even if you do have a war boss within 3 inches, you can choose whether you want to kill D3 models to not risk losing more.
It seems like it would be a better option to do that, yeah.
To keep the rest of the boys in line and keep in the fight. Yeah, Nob squads also help to keep Orcs from legging it by rolling a D6 for each nearby Orc that tries to flee, and on a result of a 6 they do not. Wow. Okay, that's not bad. So even if they do run on a 6, and you generally chuck the Orc knobs in as often as you can, don't you? These are all in addition to the mob rule, which allows a unit of Orcs to use a leadership value equal to their unit size, or the leadership value of a nearby Orc unit. Right, so they're not going to be running anywhere near as much. Okay,
no,
that's
doesn't
fine.
Sound like it.
That's a bonus. That's a buff. So what else have we got? Force multiplication. So a Painboy gives nearby Orc, infantry and biker units a 6-up save. Okay. It's alright.
Yeah.
Not feel no pain, but it's better than nothing. A big mech with a custom force field.
So is that an extra save on top of the save that they have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, against wounds suffered. So once you failed your armor save, you then get to roll that. A big mech with a custom force field gives nearby units. There we go. A 5-up invulnerable save. So it was models before, so you had to kind of cluster all of your Orcs underneath this custom force field. Whereas they've changed it to units. So I was saying before, you can almost conga line a unit and spread out. And with combat, the way that you can charge multiple units, you can wrap around and you can surround units so that they can't run away and things like that. That's going to be more useful now.
Yeah.
And you don't need to worry about having them all clumped together because it affects units. So that's good. And by the way, you can take both of these saves. Wow.
It's not bad.
So you can take the 6 up save from the Pain Boy, and then if you fail that, you can take a 5 up save from the Custom Force Field. And that's after you've failed your armor save.
It's like a Feel No Pain at the moment, isn't it? Where you get your normal save, then you get your Feel No Pain.
Yeah, but this is 3 saves.
Yeah, so even though the saves
so it's like a Necron.
Like that great, they're not like low cost saves. Having that many saves, you're gonna save more, aren't you?
Yeah.
No, I like that. That's good.
Well, this is the thing with all these like character models. I'll quickly put this in.
Yeah.
With all these other character models, with the abilities that they give in these bubbles, this is where armies are gonna. Any weaknesses they have, you might be able to iron them out, and using the right units in combination with things is what it's going to be about with building these lists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the last part here that I've just read is war bosses have the War ability, which allow friendly Orc units within 6 inches to charge even if they advanced. So that can be good. I don't think that's devastating because obviously you can roll a 1 and it's rubbish. You're not going to get very far. But combine this with the Here We Go special rule that allows Orcs to re-roll failed charge rolls, and holy smokes, you've got a fighting force to be fit. So the re-rolling failed charge can really make or break combat armies. So that's pretty decent. They've got that.
Yep.
And then the last part we've got is the Orc Weird Boy. One of the powers is the jump. So it allows an Orc infantry unit within 6 inches of the Weird Boy to be teleported to any point more than 9 inches away from the enemy units on the battlefield. That's incredible. That's awesome. So they've got a deep strike. They've got a way to teleport once you've actually deployed. So you can actually counter stuff. Yeah. You just chuck a nasty unit near the Weird Boy, and then after the game started, you just chuck them down wherever you need them to be. Either in the enemy lines on an objective, which is crucial, and it's a unit. It's not even like you're limited. You can chuck 30 Orc boys. Yeah, 30 Orc boys. You can put anything. And then suddenly the enemy's got to deal with that. And the other great stuff about redeploying and turning up on the battlefield now is that you can still charge. It's not like Deep Strike. Currently.
It definitely seems like all round from what you've just said in that is that they're definitely getting that buff that they needed. They've got better survivability now. They're less likely to run away. They're already going to be quicker to move across the table anyway. And then with the bonuses they've got there and that from the characters, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Yeah. You can actually play them tactically now. Whenever I've played against Orcs, it's just been either charge towards me or try and shoot me.
Yeah. I mean, let us know I'm going to read through the chat, but let us know what you think about this. I mean, on paper, a lot of the other stuff we've seen, they've got really nasty stats, but the abilities and the combinations of this sometimes beat those stats. Like the rubbish save is not that bad when you combine that with the amount of saves you can do. It's not really 3 saves, is it? Because you can only use the armor or invulnerable, not both. I suppose, yeah. I don't know if they've confirmed that. Obviously, in 7th, you choose one or the other, but...
Still 2 saves is handy.
And an invulnerable save followed by... or a feel no pain thingy followed by that is not bad.
And that's if there isn't any other unit or character that may give another buff that makes saves better or anything like that.
The advantage of that save there over Feel No Pain is a Feel No Pain can be negated, whereas this one can't, I don't think, unless there's another unit that has a specific rule. So you're going to get at least 2 saves every single time if you've got an invulnerable in this.
Right, so let's have a look what we got in the chat. Tedious Payload, Dark Elf Dave. I got some Dark Elf Standard and Scourge heads going for an undead medieval theme. That's pretty awesome. Jonathan Shaw has joined us. Welcome, Jonathan. He's currently located on Mars. That makes sense. Coyote, tagging, and we the consumers need to like and share to get the trending numbers. Oh, is that how it works? Okay. So that must be in reference to why we aren't seeming to be very public or not showing up on searches and things like that. So viewers need to like and share to get the trending numbers up, but with only 4,000 subscribers, it'll be hard to get on the trending page. We're not even at 4,000, so
We're just about 3.
almost 3. But we do appreciate, we do have a lot of people sharing the content around different groups and to different friends and stuff like that, and that's definitely helping us so far. Right, Tedious, you're going to post any pictures on the community page? Sean, do it. Dave, shut the back door. I don't know why that's come back up again.
I laughed at the time as well. That's 2 laughs. That's excellent. Excellent work.
Turrican, I actually come from Lichfield, not too far from Warwick, but I probably drink less Bovril than you guys. I've not drank Bovril in about 10 years. This is what happens when I try to read.
I was guessing that you would read.
Yeah, Surreal, best orc captain ever. Captain Badrook, yeah, awesome model. Basic miniature painting. I've never played the game, so this is all gibberish. That's fair enough. We try to balance the chats between painting and talking games and doing what we can, and answering questions as well. So if you've got questions that aren't gaming related, ask away, and we will answer them as best we can.
And if you haven't played before, it might be a good time to have a look at it if you are interested, because obviously with the new rules and stuff, everyone's going to be learning at that point. So now would be a good time if you're interested.
Yes, definitely.
What's this tactics you talk about? Some sneaky git stuff. Oh, it is confirmed, yeah. So you use armor save or invulnerable save.
Because that would make Terminators really quite nasty.
Big Mac Danskell's joined us. Welcome, Big Mac Danskell. And Mark Potter. Welcome, Mark. r/UK40. Reddit could easily double your audience in weeks. I don't know how Reddit works. You'll have to send us a message on Facebook, Midwest Gamer, if you can, and let us know. Teach me the ways of Reddit. Right, let's go back. So we did that for Neil. We did the special interruption just to go onto Orks. So we've done that. Let's go back onto the Space Marines. Space Marines. So they're saying, so the captain that gives you rerolls to hit of 1. This ability is awesome on things like tactical and intercessor squads, even better on devastator squads and on plasma toting hellbusters. Yeah. So the next, this is the Inceptor Squad. So these are the jump pack ones, aren't they? What have we got? 10-inch movement. That's nice. 3 up to hit. 3 up weapon skill. 3 up ballistic skill. 4 strength. 5 toughness. Wow. If these Primaris are all toughness 5, that's pretty nasty. 2 wounds each, which is what initially I thought the Space Marines were going to be. 2 attacks each, 7 leadership, 3 up save. So some nice stats there. Let's see what they've got. So each model has 2 assault bolters. They are 18-inch range, assault 3, strength 5, -1 AP and 1 damage. Nice. I'm still thinking that pistols are better than assault weapons now, though, because of the flexibility to fire them in combat.
Well, it's going to be situational again, isn't it?
Can't we just find a unit that has both?
Well, most Space Marines have pistols and bolt guns,
and close combats. Oh, yeah. All 3 options, you mean?
Yeah.
Pistol, close combat, and bolt gun.
But this one isn't. This is equipped with 2 assault bolters, nothing else. Rules-wise, crushing charge. Roll a d6 each time an Inceptor finishes a charge move within 1 inch of an enemy. On a 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound. Nice. I don't think it's devastating, but it's nice. That'll stack up. Obviously, if you've got a lot of other mortal wounds in the army, then you can spam that. It does a lot of damage. Meteoric Descent. During deployment, you can set this unit in high orbit instead of placing it on the battlefield. You can set it at the end of any of your movement phases. You can set it up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away. So, nice. Again, with this unit in particular, that's going to be quite decent because you can get within that 18-inch range quite easily without needing to be needing to charge people. But if you obviously if you set up 10 inches away from the enemy, you can shoot them and then charge as well.
Yeah.
Nice. No other special rules other than that. And that's 2 of the units in the Dark Imperium box. So we're off to Warhammer Fest this weekend. Stay tuned for all the latest news about the new Warhammer 40k coming from the Rico Arena. Well, we got to wait till Sunday for that, but that's interesting. Right, let's get rid of that tab. Right, what's next? So we have new Warhammer 40k missions. Let's have a quick look at the chat. Surreal, I'm waiting till 8th to waste brain space on rules. No point in learning 7th at this point. Nope.
Yeah, very correct there. I think.
Turrican, at least playing for the first time now means you won't have any bad habits. That's really true.
Yeah.
Especially if you played multiple editions from the past. You have so many rules in your head that you just can't, you don't even do it on purpose sometimes. You get a rule from one edition, mix it with another edition, and you end up blending up an entire game with all sorts of rubbish.
And when said believably, anybody will go with it.
Yeah, Dave does this on every game, so you have to have your rulebook out to check it, which is going to be great when there's only 12 pages of rules. We can check it quite quickly.
Yes, it is.
Surreal, Facebook might as well send the message via carrier pigeon or potato. That's fair.
I don't know how you send a message by potato, though.
Throw it.
Oh dear.
Kablam's never considered Reddit to expand YouTube subs. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we just chuck our content out at the moment. We need to look at Instagram and Twitch and Twitter and do all that sort of stuff. We've got accounts, we've dabbled in it, but not focused on any of it too much. Instagram's the next one I want to start doing, releasing pictures daily that we're working on. Mark 10 Gravis is a keyword. Wonder what that means. Yeah, that's true. Tedious payload. Mark 10 armor is giving the extra toughness. Ah, like the gravitas. So maybe that's what that Mark 10 gravitas keyword is. That's the thing that gives you the toughness 5. I had a friend who was a mushroom once. He was a fun guy and he grew on you.
I think that's related to the Orc thread, isn't it?
Yeah. Kablams, I'm hoping that playing AOS will help me to adjust to the new edition. It definitely will do, but there are things that are different and will get mixed up. One of them was, it's only a basic thing, but obviously when you remove wounds from a model in 40k, your stats on like the monsters and the vehicles and stuff, they become worse. They've done it in a different way, haven't they? So it says wounds left on the 40k version, whereas on Age of Sigmar it depends on how many wounds you've taken. So you have to kind of invert that. So that will, I mean, it's only basic, but that might catch you out a few times. My greetings must be too risque. Armor Freak, let's go up. What did Armor Freak say? I must have missed it. I've definitely missed it. It's not even on my chat.
Yeah. Having a long day can do that to you. Means you miss stuff.
Surreal, look at Patreon. Get that money, mate. You're going to Instagram that randomly chosen new Primaris Space Marine army then. So Patreon, we've looked at doing Patreon, but I don't think we're gonna go for it. At least in the meantime, because we've got the website. We've spent a lot of time getting the website sorted. Recently, we've been fine-tuning the speed of it as well. It's got a lot faster. So tweaking the back end has now fixed a lot of issues. So it's definitely faster loading videos. And we're regularly, obviously, releasing all the premium content. So rather than just asking for donations through Patreon and not giving too much back, obviously we can set videos that we release on Patreon, but because we've got the website and we've spent money on setting that up and maintaining it, we kind of want to use that. So at the minute, premium memberships is the only way that people can support us. We've thought about doing donation buttons, but we'd rather give something back. In the future, we may have another level of membership which you can pay for, which will get you bonuses. But for now, it's the premium, and it's $2.99 a month. So if you know, there are a bunch of people supporting us already, and that is enough. So thank you for that, and head on over to Wargamer Online for that as well. Before it gets to the weekend as well, you know, you may as well get it done on a Friday evening. Spend the $2.99 and then go to Warhammer Fest, and then we'll.
So for anyone that isn't a premium subscriber on the website, what can they get there?
Oh, it's basically more videos of what we've got. So there's much longer. So the painting tutorials that we've released on YouTube, we've only done 2, which are over about 5-6 minutes long. So everything on YouTube is quick tips, or you know, how to paint a certain hair color, how to paint a certain skin tone, or something like that, or just a tip like putting Lamian medium into a dropper bottle rather than contaminating it in a normal GW paint pot. So the premium painting tutorials, I don't think there's anything below 10 minutes, other than maybe the Necron one that went up tonight, because that was showing you how to paint them really quickly. Generally, they're between 10 and 30 minutes long. Sometimes they're up to 40-45 minutes. So they're all up on there. And we put it through a different streaming service as well, rather than using YouTube. So we're paying for that as well. So the quality should be better. Well, it is better. So they're much longer. Then on top of the battle reports, you've got the on top of the premium tutorials, you've got battle reports. So we've done one at the minute every week. We do a battle report on Facebook, on YouTube. I'm so tired. We've got to get up at 6 tomorrow. So it's alternating
weeks, isn't it? So one battle report on YouTube, following week one battle report on the website and for premium.
Yes, you got it. So that's that. And then we've also got a bunch of chats. So behind the scene videos, we've got extended bloopers. So the battle reports we're doing for YouTube, we're trying to do a premium post-game chat as well, which goes into more depth about the game. So YouTube, it might be a quick 5-minute, you know, run over how the game ends. But then on the premium stuff, you might have a 10 or 15 or 20-minute chat where you go into detail about what you could have done, what tactics might have worked a little bit better or something like that. Get yourself a cup of coffee, the Fomorian says. Yes, I definitely should have had a cup of coffee, but like I said, I was rushing to get online tonight, and I haven't had time to eat or drink since 10 o'clock this morning, I think it was, actually.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
We're going to get some good food soon.
Hopefully, yeah. Stew Rat, Premium Plus will be Sam and Phil doing bat reps while wearing Speedos. Oh, I think we need a lot of members before we wear Speedos for battle reports. But, you know, this is what the premium stuff's for. We've got a suggestion box on the website. So if you suggest, I really want to see Phil in Speedos on a battle report. If enough people say it, then, you know, that's one thing Phil does is, you know, if enough people request something, we might do it. So there's a little tip for you. But just don't mention me at all. Tedious Payload Premium gets to choose Sam's Primaris colour scheme and what he uses to transport his models. We all know it's going to be KR cases. And I would not... I don't think I could let people choose my colour scheme. As much as I appreciate the premium members, I don't think I could continue an army unless I've set on the colour scheme myself. Martin the Warrior joined. Welcome, Martin. And Minty Moore, can I ask you all a quick question, please? Of course you can, Minty. And welcome to the chat. Stephen Leggett, having to fight the old... Oh, I thought that said an I. Nursing instinct to start preaching over the importance of taking better care of yourself, Sam. Doing it all for the channel. Hashtag for the channel, Stephen. Awesome. Right, let's get on to missions and we'll let the chat build up and we'll go through it one more time. We have, what have we got? Missions are still a big part of the new Warhammer 40k. Experienced players will often tell you that it's just as important to play the mission as it is to obliterate your enemy to secure victory, and that's just as true now. There are a lot of missions in the new Warhammer 40k book which will give you players hundreds of hours of variety. The most basic mission, Only War, is flexible enough for any style of game. This mission works with armies of any size, though two that have comparable total power levels work best. This mission will be available as part of the free rules in the Warhammer 40k primer and, of course, in the new rulebook. So before we go on to this, I want to talk about current, 7th edition missions and the importance, because I've not read this. I'm not going to read it until we talk about this. But one thing we noticed in particular was if you don't play, let's look at Age of Sigmar. If you don't play a mission, if you don't play a scenario, and you just kill each other, it's pretty boring. I find anyway. I think you need a mission to encourage you to go for certain objectives. You need to play certain scenarios to encourage you to do stuff rather than just sit back and shoot. And I think in 40k it's very important that the scenarios do the same sort of thing. In the past, I still always go for a killy list. I don't really do tactics and I don't do objectives. And I just try and kill as much as I possibly can. So even if I lose, I'm happy that I've killed stuff. Dave and Mike definitely, on the other hand, play objective based, don't you? The two of you.
Very much so, yeah.
Well, Dave really heavily. I'm in the middle-ish, maybe leaning more towards objectives.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing is, like, if I win a game based on objectives, but I've been absolutely battered, when you've been destroyed, when you've wiped out loads of stuff. The enemy's wiped out most of your army, and you win by doing something like running away. I think one of our early battle reports, Mike, I ran away and I think I won, but it was like for me, it's not a victory as much
was
as
that the word bearers
without spoilers. But one of our battle reports, I just ran away, and it was the first time I've done it where I went to win the game based on playing the objective and not running in and just killing stuff. So. And it felt horrendous. I can't play that way. So for me, I have to kill more. It's same as playing, computer games. If you're playing like Call of Duty or Overwatch or something, my main thing is more kills than deaths. It's the kill-death ratio, and that's why I play.
It's the only thing that matters to you.
Whereas when Dave plays Call of Duty, he's obsessed with the objectives.
How many objectives can I get?
We're playing like capture the point, and I'll be killing everythth as best I can. Dave doesn't even look for enemies. He just runs for the the objective. Just see him run straight out towards the objective. I'm like, Dave, there's loads of people there. Don't care. You're getting points.
I'm in Bartop. I'm getting points.
And he'll run out. He'll last 10 seconds and die.
Because over time, like Sam, you've changed quite a bit considerably when you play games from just going all out kill. Have you found it more interesting when playing? Not necessarily like the entire game, just playing the objectives, but leaning a little bit more towards that way of going for objectives rather than just kill. Have you found that it's made it more interesting for you, or not really?
I think for me, it's more of a building a varied army list. So I still end up doing the same thing because I think it's like muscle memory. You end up doing the same thing. You just want to shoot stuff. Or charge into combat and rip things to pieces. However, when I'm building my army list now, it's not how can I kill things very quickly. It's more of a how can I score every objective. So in Age of Sigmar now, I make sure I've got, before we even know what battle line we're playing, I make sure I've got a mix of heroes, elite units, numbered models. So like I'll take a 10-man unit of Ardboys over brutes, because there's more models, and certain scenarios require you to have more models around an objective to score it. Some battle lines require you to have heroes to capture them as well. So you can't just take one hero and then fill the rest of your army with brutes, for example. So now I'm looking more at how I can make a balanced list, or at least know my weakness. If I'm going to take just brutes and a character, I know that I'm going to struggle with a hero capturing battle line, or I'm going to struggle where I need to get more models. So my objective then is to kill the models that I'm against, so that I end up, being able to capture stuff. And I think that's where it switched. But I think you do need scenarios. Anyway, let's have a quick look and see what this is. We'll see if we can zoom in any more so you can see it. Right, I can't go over to the right, can I? Oh, I can go over a bit. So the armies. In order to play this mission, you must first muster an army from the miniatures in your collection. You can include any models in your army. Sometimes you may find that you do not have enough models to field a minimum-sized unit. If this is the case, you can still include one unit of that type in your army with as many models as you have available. This is very Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did for when they first released Sigmar.
So you set up terrain. place objectives to represent sites of tactical or strategic import that one or both armies are attempting to secure. So they can be anything. Each player must place 2 objective markers anywhere on the battlefield as long as they're at least 10 inches away from any other objective marker. We suggest taking turns to place these, starting with whichever player wins a roll-off. A player controls an objective marker if there are more models from their army within 3 inches of it than there are enemy models. Measure to the centre of the marker. Okay, so very similar to current 7th edition, apart from there's only 4 objectives, was that?
Yeah, 4 objectives, you said.
Yeah, each player must place 2 objectives.
So objective placement is very much similar to how we know it at the moment then?
In 40k, yeah. In Age of Sigmar, obviously, they're set.
Yeah, as it remains in 40k.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't measure to the centre of the objective marker, though, did you? Wasn't it just the edge of it? So that's different.
I think that's because a lot of people take their own custom objectives, and obviously, if you have a tiny objective in one game, it's different to having a bigger one. Into you've got to. I think playing it consistently the same is gonna work. Primary objectives. Actually, I'm just going to check the chat again. One sec. So where we're up to, Minty Moore. I have just recently been given a load of Deathwatch sprues and the 7th edition Dark Vengeance all unmade. Is there a way of upgrading these Space Marines to the new Primaris ones?
There's not as such as that, but you can use parts off your Deathwatch.
Not Dark Vengeance though, because
not Dark Vengeance, no.
Yeah, so Deathwatch you can use like the shoulder pads and the heads, and maybe some of the weapons. Some of them will look a bit weird because they're small. So it's only really like close combat weapons that would look decent, or the bigger weapons. And the underslung, Hairy Painter was saying that Forge World underslung weapons would look pretty decent, and I think he's right on that. But in terms of upgrading them to Space Marines, I'd say use the shoulder pads from Deathwatch and put them onto the Primaris models and play them as, you know, true scale Deathwatch or a Deathwatch Primaris company. Sean Dewitt, Speedos would certainly help with the studio. They will actually, Sean. That's a great idea. Practical as well as eye candy. Not unless you can make them grow, says Dark Elf Dave. Surreal, I hope they get rid of the cheese spam. Sneblot, evening. Welcome, Sneblot. Armour Freak, I actually really liked Maelstrom in 7th, so I hope they have an even better in 8th. We'll carry on reading, we'll see what else there is. Stu Rat, what I don't like is an objective being an empty spot of ground, one of which is worth 4 times as much as the other empty spot. Objectives, okay, we'll have to carry on reading. Sure, you shouldn't be starting an Ork army instead of Steroid Marines, Sam. Kill everything. Yeah, I mean, I've got Iron Jaws for Age of Sigmar. I want something different for 40k, and what Phil's like. If I say I want to do something, he'll do it. So
perhaps you should send him on a loose lead then. Get him to do something that you don't want to do.
In the past, I've said Orks. And you know what? Rightly so. Phil is a much better converter and scratch builder. He can create vehicles that are going to look incredible. So when he's doing his 40k Ork army, they're going to look incredible. I'm just a little bit jealous because looking at the quality of the Iron Jaws that were released for Age of Sigmar, those with the 40k aesthetic are going to look incredible as well. So
yeah,
I'd be jealous when they come out for sure. Horde armies look more appealing with the removal of blast templates, says Ryan Benfield. That is completely true, and this is why I think Tyranids are going to be my number one scary army to fight. I think we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, they're definitely something to be feared. But they're saying that Orks, it's leaning that way. Those Horde armies, if they can move faster across the table, which is what it's looking like so far from what you've seen, and they're heavily combat based as well, they are going to run through some armies.
Ashley Perkins went to go and remove a spider. 15 minutes. What did he miss? And what were we talking about? We did a bit on Orks. I can't remember in the last 15. It was probably... I don't even know. You'll have to go back and watch. Sorry.
We did the Orks. We're going through the missions now. I think we were chatting about...
Missed Phil in the Speedo.
We're talking about painting and the premium side of the account as well.
Yeah, we're talking about...
Did we go through all of that in the last 15 minutes?
I think so. I think some of it.
Turrican, there have been some fairly big leaks today. Mortal wounds spill over from one model to the others in the unit. That's interesting. It's interesting they've done that two ways. Obviously, normal damage doesn't spill, but mortal wounds do. You know, like unless that's not from attacks, I don't know. Opinions on starting a Acadian infantry platoon purely with Forge World respirators. Ryan, you definitely do it. It's expensive, obviously, but one army I've been looking at was Death Corps of Krieg. They look incredible. They're my favourite guard regiment, but I haven't got the money to spend on a regiment of them, or even a platoon of Death Corps yet. So maybe in the future one day. Turrican, so some pages of the rulebook leaked quite a few detachments too. Fair enough, Turrican. Sean saying to Ryan, so it would be expensive. Sure, other companies do similar or better heads. There are a lot of conversion companies out there. We got sent a huge box of bits from Spellcrow. They've got some really nice heads, but it's mainly a lot of them are for Space Marines. So if you want like custom Space Wolf heads or Thousand Suns or pretty much any of the Space Marine chapters, the main ones, they've created heads, shoulder pads, even torsos and legs and things like that. We got a big bunch of the bits that can be used for Slanesh. Got a few Nurgle bits, Templar, Black Templar model bits, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and Thousand Suns. And there's a video I've already done on Spellcrow, so if you want to check that out, you'll at least see the quality of the resin pieces, because they're incredible. So check the website out, and if they've got any heads that you can use for your Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum, then that might be worth looking at. The other one is, there's loads of companies, but they're the ones that have been sent to us so far. I'm used to the mortal wounds as an AOS player, says Martin. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, like I was saying, it's worth looking at playing Age of Sigmar just to if you've never played it before and you're playing 7th at the moment and you want something to do, just try Age of Sigmar out. Even if you just proxy in models to try it. Talons or Mordians are the best.
Do we know if mortal wounds ignore invulnerable saves and special saves like those Orks got?
I imagine they'll ignore invulnerable saves, but not. I don't know.
Army abilities.
Because in Age of Sigmar, things that had effectively the invulnerable save, like the Phoenix Guard, they had a 4-up save, a ward save. In Age of Sigmar, they didn't. They got rid of ward saves, so there was no invulnerable or ward, and they got that as an ability. So they still kept it. They still got that 4-up save, but it was afterwards. So I don't know yet. I'll have to have a look.
I'll have to wait and see then.
Ashley Perkins, do you happen to know the melting point of humans? Also, which company armies do you have planned? And how many points? Which company armies? Do you mean for Wargame Online?
For us, yeah, I think.
Okay, so it depends. I mean, just for the studio, not counting all of the people who will be on battle reports in the future as well. So this is just the studio armies. We'll have 30k Space Wolves, 40k Space Wolves, 30k Death Guard, 30k Thousand Suns. I'll do it in armies actually. What else have we got? 30k Word Bearers. This is off the top of my head, so I'm probably missing some. 40k there's Nurgle, Demons. There's Tyranids, a massive Eldar army, like 8,000 points, and that's not including the Phantom, which is going to start getting built in the future. Sean, hey, Blue Table fans. I actually rang Rachel the other day, Sean, and said, hey, Blue Table fans. Not as enthusiastically as you do, but welcome to the chat, Sean. 40k, what else have we got? I really don't know. I'll make a full list. There's a lot.
There's quite a lot. There's a lot of Age of Sigmar armies there too.
Age of Sigmar, there's Sylvaneth, there's the Vampire, what they call the Corpse, the Corpse Eater.
Flesh Eater
Corpse. I was halfway there. The
What's
Skaven, the Iron Jaws, Ogres, Caradron,
Seraphon.
Rachel's Seraphon army. And if I could show you up on this wall that Phil's built for me today, I've got pretty much the last of Rachel's Seraphon army ready to finish. So they're all up there ready. But I don't know the melting point of humans, Ashley Perkins, going back to that.
Somebody further side said, I say to you whether human fat will start melting at around 60 degrees C. Don't know why that was asked. It was because of the hot room, wasn't it?
Jay Aitken, has anyone talked about the lack of free data slates yet? I think they're all going to be on the day, aren't they? We're going to be we're going to get an influx on day one with every single army having their updated free data slates. So not long to wait now, a couple of weeks. Anvil has great guard heads. Anvil Industries, yeah, that's another good one. eBay is what?
So I was going to say what's interesting this time is a lot of the GWs are doing a midnight release. So the rules are obviously going to be a midnight release as they were for Age of Sigmar, but the stores are backing that up, some of them at least. So rather than having to wait till 10 o'clock in the morning, you can be there on the Friday night and get a full weekend of it.
So apparently rules are free, but the data slates will be in codexes. I think they're going to be in both. I think it will be like Age of Sigmar where they release a bunch of PDFs that you can download, and then when they bring out codexes, you'll have them in there as well as having extra stratagems and special weapons and things like that you can use. Ashley Perkins, according to Spiky Bits, they ignore invulnerables. Okay, so mortal wounds ignore that as well then.
Yeah, so it'll only be if an ability says that it can be taken against mortal wounds as well.
Thankful I'm a Necron player then. I get knocked down and I get up again.
Sean, I sometimes have to refrain from crying out, hey, Blue Table fans, when I'm excited. If anybody, for anybody who hasn't seen Blue Table painting before, I don't know if there is anybody who hasn't, but go on over to the channel after this has gone through and just subscribe and go through the backlog of inspiring videos that Sean's created, because just sticking on one of his videos will instantly give you a moment of happiness. And there's also some amazing models that get done on that channel by the studio, so definitely worth checking that out. So here's my question. There are now 2-point systems. Will one of them completely wither in favour of the other? That's interesting. I personally think the PowerPoint will be the inferior one. I think the granular system, the one that's going to be more in depth, where you pay for upgrades and you pay for everything, I think that's the one that the tournaments are going to claim. They're going to use that one, and I think that's the one I would prefer to use as well.
Yeah, it's leaning that way. It'd be the case of words. Sorry, I'm getting tired now. I think the standard point value ones are going to be more for the casual players, or if you're just looking to get a game up and going quickly. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. A lot of people have said that they're going to be playing 8th edition very narratively, so they're going to be not worrying about the upgrade points, not worried about that at all, just wanting to play a game that's fun, interesting, with cool models on the table. So the PowerPoint system is going to be the perfect solution to playing that style. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what feedback Games Workshop get, and maybe if they'll ever release it, which one is actually going to be more prevalent. I personally think it's going to be the granular system, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Blue Table Painting Series. This is from Ryan. Wonder if any armies will get a model revamp in 8th. Would love some new versions of old kits. Yeah, and Sean's put, I predict all the Rangers will get a makeover similar to what is being done in Age of Sigmar. This will strengthen GW's intellectual property. Completely, 100% agree again. The models are amazing. They're constantly going to be updating the Rangers. It's just a matter of when. And just crossing your fingers that your arm is going to get done before the older ones, really. So I'm still waiting for elves or humans for Age of Sigmar, and I've said as soon as one of them is going to be released, maybe not high elves, because that's Rachel's second favourite army. So after the Seraphon, as soon as high elves comes out, that's going to be hers. But when the dark elf,
another army for you to paint.
Another army for me to paint for her. But as soon as dark elf, wood elves, or whatever they're going to be called in the newer Age of Sigmar, or the humans are released, then I'll be starting them for definite for my next Age of Sigmar army. For now, it's all 8th edition Primaris that I'm working on. Will be working on. I'm already working on them in my head, trying to work out the colour scheme. J8 King can't post links, but Uncle Atom on Tabletop Minions was at ACD Games Day in the GW presentation. They were told that rules were free, but no free data slates. That's weird. Yeah, because like Sneblot says, I think GW took a risk with AOS to release everything for free, and they were genuinely surprised that people still wanted to buy books. That's why 8th has gone this route. And you know what? If Games Workshop didn't release all those rules for free, I think there'd have been a bigger uproar than there was at the time. I mean, we all saw the rage of Sigmar that happened when it was released, when there was free rule sets. They didn't delete, I mean, they obviously progressed the storyline, so a lot of people thought that everything had gone, but they didn't take your old books off you and burn them in front of you. You could still play the older editions, and what they did is give you a completely new way to play with all of the rules, and it was free. So if they didn't do that, I could only imagine how horrendous the backlash would have been if they were going to be charging for everything as well. But it definitely works. People are buying the codexes. As soon as a new one comes out, they're actually chock full of background and narrative, which is something I'm more interested in now as well. Actually learning about the background behind the armies. Yeah, and like Sean says, allow for the sales of new models by sweeping away the old Rangers.
Yeah.
And we heard about this when Age of Sigmar was being released. There was rumours that there was going to be kits, like model sets, that were going to be released that were only going to be for a certain amount of time. They were only going to be available for so long. And they were rumours. Maybe that certain amount of time was like 4 or 5 years or 10 years or something. But they've probably got something where they have a phasing where they make new models and phase out the old ones. They've got to. They have to keep making new stuff for people to buy. They're a business. Stephen Leggett, Dark Elf, please say you'll do Dark Elves. Yeah, I mean, Dark Elves was my main Warhammer 8th edition army, and it's my favourite. Dark Elves are definitely my favourite army. So if they get re-released, I'll be doing them straight away with loads and loads of Witch Elves, or whatever they get released. Tedious Payload. My group is using PowerPoints for quick beer and pizza games and matched for campaigns. Yeah, and I think that's the great way to do it. Perfect way to do it. We might try that, actually.
Oh, no, you've just mentioned food and drink now. Now I'm getting hungry. Again.
Yeah, I'm hungry. We'll have to go off and eat soon. Sean saying he's on about 4,500 videos now. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I think we've been on for 4 months and we're on about 170 or 180, including premium videos on the website. Might be more, can't remember, but we've done quite a lot of videos and that's absolutely drained me. So 4,500 videos, Sean, I take my hat off. It's incredible how many videos you've done and how much content you've covered. So, and I've watched you from the very beginning when YouTube wasn't really a thing. Why did Dark Eldar get renamed for 8th edition? I think that's for their IP. They have to cover themselves. Like the elves, Dark Elves are called elves now. I was going to call them elves. But they're just renaming them all. It's same as Imperial Guard getting renamed to Astra Militarum. I call them Astra Militarum as often as possible, but in my head they're still Imperial Guard. Dark Eldar, I actually quite like the name Drakari. I like it quite a lot. I think it's a good name. Some of the names they've come up with, not interested in, but Drakari is pretty decent. Okay, let's... Sean's got... The name changes are probably for copyright issues to strengthen their intellectual property. For example, the word Eldar appears in J.R.R. Tolkien's literature. And I think even older things, yeah. Okay. Right, let's carry on looking at this scenario because we started and we haven't actually finished. So once you've put down the objectives, you roll as standard, nothing different there. Deployment, what have they done here? So you divide into 2 halves. Their opponent decides which half is their own, standard, yeah. Models must be set up in their own deployment more than 12 inches from enemy, that's standard. What have we got up here? Power level. Before battle begins, determine each army's power level by adding together the power ratings of all the units set up in that army. Whichever player has the lowest is the underdog. If both players have the same power level, the player who assigned the deployment zone is the underdog. And then you've got if the difference between the power levels of the two armies is 10 to 19, the underdog receives 1 command reroll. If the difference is 20 to 29, the underdog receives 2 command rerolls, and so on. Each command reroll can be used once at any point during the battle to reroll a single dice. That's not bad. I mean, we did stuff like this for when I was running the games, like our local Games Workshop store. Something that I put in place that was actually quite fun was if you had a fully painted army, you got a reroll in your game. If your army was it just fully painted? Or was it
No, you
else?
got 1 reroll for fully painted, then you got 1 reroll for fully based.
Fully based, that was it. So if you have a fully painted and based army, you had 2 rerolls in every game that you played, and your enemy did as well if they had the same. So it encouraged people to build and finish their armies rather than just having grey plastic. And sometimes it wouldn't do anything. Most games it would be minimal, but every now and again you'd get the game where you'd have a roll where you just messed it up and you'd roll a double 1 on a charge range and you were like that, I wish I could re-roll that one, and this sort of thing allowed you to re-roll it. So I think it's pretty decent to put that in there. So decent. First turn, underdog chooses who has the first turn. Battle lasts 5 battle rounds. Okay, so that's the same as Age of Sigmar. Most of the scenarios in Age of Sigmar last 5 turns now, or until one army has slain all of its foes. Victory conditions, so you either kill everyone or somebody wins a major victory. Otherwise, at the end of the battle, the player who has the most victory points wins a major victory. If they have the same, then the underdog wins a minor victory. Right, so what have we got? So you roll for primary objectives. So it can either be slay and secure. At the end of the battle, each objective marker is worth 2 victory points to the player who controls it. Players also earn D3 victory points if the opposing army's warlord was slain during the battle. Okay.
That's quite nice.
But again, it's quite... I mean, one thing I do like about Age of Sigmar is the rush for the objectives early on and trying to move around the board. And there's a lot more reactionary gameplay. With this, you've got to get... you get to the end of the game, don't you? By turn 5, you've just got to get to the end and capture. You've got to sweep up. So armies like Eldar, Drakari, they can use their bikes and their movement to just turbo around to the objectives at the end of the game and win on objective points. So I think they're going to be winning objective-based games very easily if you get that. Ancient Relic. At the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, randomly select one objective marker, remove the other objective markers from the battlefield. At the end of the battle, the remaining objective marker is worth 6 victory points. So that is definitely going to be an interesting game because obviously you put down the objectives where you want.
Yeah.
And you don't know which one is going to be selected as the relic. So you're going to have to race around the board to get that. And one side is probably going to be at a disadvantage. So again, movement is going to be key. Transports are going to be a big thing in 8th edition, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be more survivable, can move quite well. So, yeah.
And also, we saw the Orks earlier, didn't we? Having that weird boy teleport.
The teleporting, yeah.
You set up on the board, you wait, you can run around and use those for most of the battle. On the turn 5, you can teleport a unit onto an objective and win the game based on that.
So although Eldar might be slightly better at getting around the table, this is just going off on what bits we've seen so far. They might be slightly better. Other armies are still going to be able to do it as well, just maybe not quite as well.
Yeah. Last one, domination. At the end of each turn, each objective marker is worth 1 victory point to the player who controls it. Keep a running score. So that's the one I quite like. You have to stay on the objectives. You have to move around and capture as many as possible. So that's interesting, but I thought there was more ways to get points. So there's only those ways to get victory points. It's not even like Slay the Warlord is on each of those. I mean, that's one.
These are just for the campaign play, aren't they? For the PowerPoint play.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a whole load of other points and victory conditions when we actually get rules and full rules.
This one's there are 3 open play missions that give more variety: Annihilation, Hold at all costs, and Death or Glory. Narrative play brings more options still, and the rules for these missions are a bit more in depth. So there's 6 of these in the book. Each comes with not just new missions, but 3 new stratagems for the attacker and 3 for the defender, making them quite distinct from a traditional game. I think that's a good thing. Here we go. So command point sensors. If you're the defender, use this after you've set up your sentries. All sentries can add 3 inches to the distance at which they will spot an enemy model. That's cool. Cut the wires. If any of your units are within 3 inches of any objectives at the end of the game, reduce the number of sabotage attempts that have been made by 1 to a minimum of 0. Extra sentries. Use this immediately before setting up your sentries. 2 units can be set up as sentries rather than only 1 unit. So, command points are going to be quite key to getting a bonus. It isn't just a reroll. Yeah. They're quite key to playing winning scenarios. Silence weapons. Narratively, use the stratagem when one of your units makes a shooting attack immediately before the attack is resolved. So the alarm is only sounded if the target of the shooting attack loses 1 or more wounds but is not slain. That's pretty cool. You kill him. It's not going to say much, are they? You shot him in the head with a silence weapon. I like that. Camouflage. Halve that unit's power rating when working out the distance at which it can be spotted by sentries. That's really cool. I think I'm going to have to make use of those Scion models with the sneaky cloaks.
Definitely.
Right, so there's some cool stuff in there as well. If the mission uses tactical objectives, so we've not even looked at tactical objective games, have we? We've looked at the most bog standard scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Tactical objective games, my favourite type of game.
Yeah, no, it's my worst game. But you know what? I'll still play them. I'll still play tactical objectives over anything else, I think.
Yeah.
So this one is 2 command points. Use this stratagem after generating your objectives at the start of your turn. Immediately discard a tactical objective and generate a new one. That's interesting. Quite expensive, 2 command points for that. If it's anything like 7th edition, you generally pull 2 or 3 rubbish ones. So spending 2 just to exchange one of them is quite a lot.
But sometimes you get ones that you just can't complete.
Yeah.
So this might be a way of getting rid of those.
Right, we've had
stuffed.
We've had a whole show talking about. We've been looking at the browser, and now we get to see Dave's face again. So life's looking great already. Let's look through the chat, and then I think we'll go through what we've got, and then we might call it, because I said an hour, and we're up at 6 tomorrow morning to go to ChillCon, and it's definitely over an hour. So what have we got?
35 at the minute now.
Yeah. So PowerPoints to Stephen Leggett. PowerPoints will be fine against most folk, just maybe worth avoiding against that person who will max every possible upgrade and always wants to play that much more on the table than anyone else. Yeah, that's true. I think you've got to... That's the reason I like the granular system, because as much as people like to play for fun, they'll still end up chucking in some filth without even realising it. So I like the idea that everyone's paying for the actual upgrades, and it is as fair as it can be. Kablams, I'm at 450 odd videos. Takes time, though. Sam/WGO is killing it. It's not just me, it's Phil as well. Phil is working. Phil has a full-time, very busy what was I going to say?
Job.
No, I was going to say something else. Like, it's a very difficult job, so he does a lot of work on that. So I'm doing as much as I can, and Phil helps as much as he can as well. So it's a... And then we've obviously got others helping us as well, like Mike and Dave and Rachel and Pink as well. So there's plenty of people who help us. Martin the Warrior. I personally like some of the name changes. For example, Orks being changed to Orks. It sounds more orky. I like Orks a lot more as well. I like Iron Jaws. Sean, 40 times videos a month, 480 a year. You'll be there in 9 years. Wow. That's a long time, Sean. You've definitely been nailing out the content.
Yeah.
Oh, bear in mind my video quality of videos is horrible, no editing. Yeah, but they're still all watchable. Mine take longer to release. Surreal's not happy with Games Workshop as late. I'm extremely happy with Games Workshop recently. With the whole outreach to the community, the reducer, they've brought out starter boxes, they've brought out 3 new rules for 8th edition, as well as, everything they've done I've liked. I can't knock them on anything other than I want more, and that's something that you can't really, that's not a complaint. Complaining about not having enough is not really a complaint at all.
They're, for me as well, I think they're definitely going in the right direction.
Sean Ashton Miller, what? You're in the Guard, son. Yep, exactly. They're still Guard. They were my first army. Might have to keep playing random game length with friends, even if that's not in the 8th edition. Yeah, Stephen, that's what. I mean, you can play what you want, rules-wise. I think this is just the guideline that people want to have. Ashley Perkins, I don't get Ancient Relic. No mentions of any other way of getting any victory points.
There's another comment further down there that says that these are just the primary objectives, so there might be secondary objectives as well that we haven't even seen yet, as such as Slay the Warlord and First Blood and that sort of stuff. Those might come into play as well.
Or it could just be that there's only one objective.
Yeah, deeply it could be
basically
that.
The only way to win that game is to get the relic, and that's it.
Holding on to the previous edition a little bit there, maybe.
Yeah. Sam's still going. Phil's joined us again. Yes, Phil. I welcome the new Martin the Warrior. I welcome the new 8th edition rules. I've been looking to get into 40k for a while, but never have because of the cost of the rules. Now my Dark Angels may actually get used. Yeah. There's so many people either returning back to the 40k or starting up because they've never played it before. They've either done Fantasy in the past or Age of Sigmar and they've never played 40k. I loved Age of Sigmar. That was my number one system. And 8th edition is looking every single day more and more appealing to me. So
it's a good time to be in the hobby. I think everyone could agree on that.
An excellent time to get into the hobby as well. If you've got friends or family that in the past you've tried to get them into it or just show it, obviously you're not going to... Some people just won't like the game. It's as simple as that. It's not their sort of thing. Others might have had barriers. So it might be worth speaking to these people that might have had barriers in the past, whether it was a commitment to having to spend a lot of time reading all of the rules and memorizing them and maybe going to a club and getting absolutely battered because they're not on top of it constantly. It could be that they don't have time to build and paint the models, or that the models were too expensive. There's plenty of barriers that can stop people from playing or getting into the hobby.
This is where now with both systems, so 40k where they're going into 8th and Age of Sigmar, they're looking, well, Age of Sigmar already know is, and 8th is looking like they're going to be easy to get into. So if you're new to the hobby, trying it for the first time, or even just wanting to try out the other system, everything's being made easier to initially just get them through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we noticed it, didn't we? When Age of Sigmar was released in the shop, and there was people coming in, buying a couple of boxes, building them on the day, and starting to play the game that same day, and they'd never even played before.
Yeah,
and you would never get
within hours.
If you played 8th edition Fantasy, that would not happen. You wouldn't get people come into a shop, open a box, and start playing, and go home and play more games that evening. It just wouldn't happen.
No, well, it was very unlikely you could do it.
You couldn't build enough units to actually play an actual game.
Definitely not. Tedious payload. In our AOS games, we just have beardy unit rule. If it seems a bit broken, we limit it down to 1 for future games. So you still take it, but it doesn't dominate. We would do the same for 40k. Yep. I mean, if you're doing house rules and things like that, it's a perfect way to balance it. You just need to make sure you've got a group that's all happy with that. And I think the stuff that we do for the channel, especially, we won't be doing house rules. We'll be playing it as it is. If something is completely nonsense, then maybe we'll look at it. But most of the time, we just play it as it is. And if something's absolutely filthy, we just won't use it, or we will put a restriction on it ourselves. So we do it that way. Gene Stealer Court. So Phil's starting his Gene Stealer Court after the weekend. We've got a lot of 40k 8th edition to do next week, Phil. I think maybe the week after, when I'm starting Primaris, or the week after that, might be a good idea to start Gene Stealer Court for our Tale of Warlords for the channel. Ryan Benfield, when were your first games of 40k and what edition? Right, whatever edition was out, before Tau and Necrons were released. I think it might have been a year later that Tau and Necrons were released, around that time. So whatever edition that was, and my first games were Catachan. I played Imperial Guard Catachan against, I think it must have been Space Marines or Orks. Might have been Orks actually, but Catachan were my first army, and they were painted horrifically. Mike, what was your first games of 40k and what edition?
I think it might have been 6th. I think. I'm not 100% on that. Okay. But then it would have been my Eldar. But the only downside was where I started with the Eldar. It was one of them with I didn't know what to get. I had no idea what's going to be good to get. So I just bought a load of things that looked cool, and then found out quite quickly, obviously with the way the rules were at that time, it doesn't work so well against someone that it takes units that they know what to do with them and that work well. Whereas obviously now you can get away with that because it looks like everything is worth using.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think for me it was probably, if I remember rightly, 5th edition, and it was at the very, very beginning of 5th edition when it first came out, because I was a Lord of the Rings player that came in that era, and then expanded to other Games Workshop stuff when it was released, or when it was re-released for the first time, when it was updated. So I played from the beginning of 5th.
Primaris is saying Tau came out in 3rd, so it must have been 2nd edition that I played. But obviously I was a kid, so I didn't even play the rules properly, so that makes no relevance.
Rules were guidelines back then.
Yeah. Just
still are guidelines.
I want to check something, because Brad Lever's put, is somebody sewing in the background or airbrushing? And I'm hearing it as well, so it's not just me that's got this weird ear thing where you can listen to stuff. So,
I didn't realise you could hear that. Do you want me to mute myself?
What are you doing?
I think the missus is running a bath, and then it's the water pipes that you can hear.
Just mute yourself a second.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Unmute yourself. Yeah. It's definitely that.
Well, the only reason I thought no one can hear it is because normally you are the first person to say, "What's that noise?"
Okay. Yeah. When most people
do you want me to mute myself?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
You know what?
For the first time, it's not me either.
If I'm not grumbling about some sort of noise, it's not really an issue.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Right. So we've got a lot of people who played 2nd, 3rd. Phil, obviously, 1st edition. He was playing Warhammer before it was Warhammer. He was playing Rogue Trader. Teaching everyone how to play Rogue Trader. My first games were played in 2nd edition, but I had the Rogue Trader book. Got my minis stolen by a friend when I moved. Not a friend, are they then? Left such a bitter taste in my mouth that I'm just now starting to play GW again. I know it wasn't GW's fault.
Oh dear.
I like that. And listener, 8th edition for me. Yeah, again, like I said, there's new people to the hobby. The thing is, everyone's at the same level now. Everyone's learning it at the same time. So, absolutely perfect time to get into it. Okay, so let's do a close. So, what have we got to talk about? We've got ChillCon tomorrow, so we're going to have content for that. Hopefully, we're going to see Spud and Elster Nation, and I think Jojo Man, and as many other people as we can see over there.
A ticket's still available.
Tickets are available on the door. Yeah. So
okay.
In Sheffield, we've done an interview, so the information's on there. But if you go to chillcon.co.uk, I think that's the website off the top of my head. You can see details for that. If you're near to Sheffield, we're driving up from the Midlands, and we know there's a bunch of you from the Midlands. So get in the car, drive to Sheffield, stay for a couple of hours, stay for a few, just to have a look what's there more than anything. There's going to be a bunch of traders and loads to have a look at. And then Sunday, we have the amazing Warhammer Fest. So I'm jealous for everyone who's going tomorrow. But we will be there on Sunday. We will be looking at Golden Demon. We will meet as many people as possible. Katie Hunter has just showed up at the end. I'm sorry, Katie. We've been going longer than we should have done. But there's at least over an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes worth of a show that you can go back and watch if you are so inclined. So that's what we're doing. We need to get off and eat and go to sleep because we're going to be going first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's going to be really early. And I've still got stuff to tidy up in this room ready. Frost and Fist has joined as well. I think all the Americans and Canadians are joining us now. So thank you to everybody who has joined the show. Thank you to everyone. As we found out earlier, liking the videos and thumbing up actually spreads us around the network a little bit more. So we appreciate everyone if you could do that for us. Thank you to everyone who has signed up for the premium membership. We've had some more this evening. I think during the show, I think we've had another 2. So yeah, I don't know who that was, but if you've signed up, amazing. Thank you. Head on over to wargameronline.com. Make an account for free if you want to do that, and sign up for the premium if you want to do that as well. It's the way to support us, to keep us continue doing this content, and to make us stay up till 6 o'clock in the morning. So you get a little bit of punishment out of it as well. Directed it myself. Thank you to Michelangelo and Dave for both of them joining us.
No problem.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Have an amazing weekend. We will speak to you soon. So see you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.